Check. Audio good. All right, back on. So if you missed that, so just doing a quick recap. I'll just do a chop here. So biggest information last week, aside from the Russian headlines, oil, huge moves. Europe actually gets about 40% of their natural gas from Russia, and with sanctions going on against Russia for NATO and the countries involved, that's actually going to be good for some U.S. equities. So I was talking about Tellurian is one of my stock commons holdings. They're up like 50% this week. The U.S. natural gas export business is pretty good, and our nat gas is actually the cleanest fossil fuel that you can get. So this kind of stuff is good for us. Oil in general trading at about we opened at 99 a barrel. We did hit 100 earlier for crude oil futures. We've been talking about $100 barrel oil for quite a while. You can look at that. Like WTI is probably the most traded ETF for oil. Yeah, sorry guys. And really, we were looking at last week. We opened blood red, and then as the week went on, we actually closed fairly flat for the week. And the turnaround point, and we'll start to see that, was Thursday when the U.S. and other nations started to put sanctions on Russia. So the response against the Russian headlines, that's been helpful for the markets. We're seeing some pretty good recoveries right now across the board. And commodities, massive swing in commodities. So that was like grain, wheat, corn, that kind of stuff. So JP Morgan came out, I think it was this week, just recently, and we've been calling $100 barrel oil. They actually called 110 in this second quarter of this year, and then towards the end of the year, back down to 90. So if you were excited about lower gas prices for any period of time, yeah, it's gone, most likely for the rest of the year. So GDP did come out. That was actually pretty high. So core GDP, and then we have a deflator number. So this is the highest in 40 years. And commodities, again, highest since 2014, or the last, what is this, Crimea invasion. Last piece on the highlight reel. Let me just go back. Yeah, so the U.S. did initiate, was it SWIFT, just pulling the sanctions against the U.S. or Russian central bank. That was the SWIFT situation. And I think Biden was talking about that earlier in his first speech. It's like, oh, what we were doing was a bigger deal than SWIFT, and he wasn't saying we were going to do SWIFT. He was actually saying we didn't do SWIFT. But I think that act was something that at least the markets wanted to see. So moving into the rest of the week, we actually, just a quick earnings review of the Dow 30. Biggest 30 companies in the Dow so far. We've got 28 down, only 2 to go. So 24 out of 28 so far beating. So, I mean, if you're looking at the indices in terms of earnings, we're pretty on par for what we were doing before. CRM is next up. I don't anticipate a miss per se, but yeah, they're pretty low actually right now. Doesn't mean that they're not gonna that the stock is gonna go up if they beat. Clearly, we have 24 out of 28 companies beat so far, and no, they didn't all go up. So as we start to go into what's coming up this week in terms of economic data, we'll go through what the previous numbers were and what is expected. It's very similar if you're trading earnings. You always know what the previous numbers were, and you know what is expected in terms of the last prior guidance and the quote-unquote whisper number. That stuff does not move markets, period. So what that is, it's actually what's already priced in. So if the whisper number on a street for earnings per se is already out there, if it's not that's what the stock is currently trading at. If it misses that, then that's what will move a stock price. And it's going to be the same for economic data. You'll see people post these economic calendars. For us, what we're doing here, it's kind of like trying to show you what the impact is going to be and how you can trade around it and what you should be aware of. So today, we actually got a lot of these numbers here. Again, so previous numbers are going to be here. Consensus numbers are what the market was already pricing in. Time zones here are all in Pacific. So if you don't live in the West Coast, just adjust for your time zone. Today, we do, so none of this is really going to move markets for sure. I mean, even this PMI, that really didn't move a market. Wholesale, retail, good trades balance. Yeah, this doesn't move markets. What we do have later on this evening, I don't know exactly what time it is, but we do have a State of the Union address from Biden scheduled, and I just don't have a time on it. So at some point today, we will get that, likely after markets close. So careful swinging into tomorrow. That's what I would say. So Tuesday, we do have some economic data. Tuesday is actually the first week of March. So today is the last week of February. Just be aware, a lot of traders will close out the February books. So probably a lighter trading day, I would have expected, but looking at the movement today, not so much. ISM manufacturing numbers out tomorrow. That's probably the biggest one. Again, consensus at 58. So if it comes in 62 or like 54, that would move markets. The biggest thing probably is just CRM reporting after market close. That's what AMC means, after market close. We have 238 earnings tomorrow, 200 today actually. So still in the midst of kind of earning season, but this is definitely winding down. No question. Wednesday we have ADP. So ADP used to be a pretty big gauge for what's to come in terms of non-farm payrolls, which we will get on the first Friday of every month, i.e. this Friday. This has been so far off, it doesn't even matter. It moves no markets, so it's like a non-event now. But Wednesday we do in the morning start to get some speeches from the Federal Reserve. So we get Bullard's speech, who's pretty hawkish, and then we have the bigger speech starting with testimony. So testifying in front of Congress. What's your plan? How are we going to address inflation? And that's when I would expect the inflation issue to really start, coming to life in the market. So just be aware of that if you're trading some of the high-flying kind of NASDAQ growth stocks. That's going to be a big deal. Actually, I kind of like IWM here better than the rest. So 157 earnings Wednesday. Again, biggest thing is really Powell's testimony starting one of 2 days on Wednesday morning at 7. Thursday, we have another testimony starting 7 a.m. We have 200 earnings, and we have a couple initial numbers coming out. Initial jobless claims, I don't think this really hasn't been moving markets very much. It's been pretty flat around 225 or between 225 and 250, give or take. I don't see that moving a market anymore, at least not for the near term. Unit labor costs, we do look at that, but mostly in terms of inflation, and that's a bigger cost that's going to go and going to hit the larger corporations for sure. Not from productivity, probably not. Market services, so when we get into the services sector, that could actually move markets. So this has been the biggest one that's been hit by COVID, and I believe we have some pretty big factories in the Rockies kind of actually reopening this week. So that could move some of the service sector companies. And again, probably back to my IWM thoughts on that. Friday. Did I do Thursday? Thursday. Yep. So that was Thursday. Thursday's the last Fed Powell testimony, and we are off. Friday is non-farm payrolls. So non-farm payrolls is the unemployment number, the biggest number of the month, every month. Typically sets the tone for the trading for the entire month, and it always sets a technical level at a minimum. So watch how the market reacts Friday morning to that NFP number, and that's going to be a pretty important technical level moving forward to keep an eye on. So that said, we'll also get the average hourly earnings. Again, if we'll have a lot of stuff on inflation. We have a lot of inflation numbers from last week, and part of what they're looking at is what the market's looking at is, even though average hourly earnings month over month, year over year, are maybe going up. This 5.7, our last inflation, what was PCI? It was like 7% or something. So yeah, this needs to start coming up quite a bit, or inflation needs to start coming down. Either way, that's going to be the biggest thing to watch for sure. So non-farm payrolls, Powell testimonies Wednesday and Thursday, and then I would say services sector after that, and those are going to be the probably three biggest events for the week. Friday being the biggest. So I would say just a tough trading week in front of us. If you thought last week was choppy, I would expect more of the same this week. We got the VIX opening at 33 this morning, immediately back down to 29. For an option trader, this is where you'd really just want to be in credit spreads. That's going to be where the edge is. It's not something that everybody likes to trade or knows how to trade, but it will, like I said, it will be the biggest edge that you can get in terms of your trading right now. So I wish I could tell you that I got some very clean, clear, directional stuff, but I don't. It's maybe some very scalpy type trades, like Tesla this morning was a pretty clean scalp, and you know, it was like $40, but I don't know if that's a scalp. It's like an hour's trade, so in and out. That's really what your best bet is going to be if you don't know how to swing spread trades with options. That said, we did go through some of this. I'll have this. We went through the time spreads video, or the steady mover calendars and diagonals last week. I'll have that out this week so that you guys can review. And this Thursday, we're going to go over something called ratios. So what we may run into if there's a big recovery or a big sell-off. In either case, that's actually a trade structure that you'll be able to take advantage of for big moves for sure, and then how to leg into them as well. So for your server, you'll get this link to register probably later today, maybe once or twice this week before Thursday. Just make sure you guys register, and we'll see you there. So let's jump into, I'm just going to jump into the indices. So first look across the board is always going to be just your general sector. So right now I have these, always these four: SPY, Qs, DIA, diamonds, right, Dow, industrials, and small caps, or IWM Russell index. Right now I have crude, the bond, long bond, Bitcoin, which is on a tear this morning, and absolutely always non-negotiable the VIX volatility index for any options trading. So today, what I have this, let me just take that down. This orange box here, this is the average week move. So average week's range, essentially. I'm going to move this to a 30-minute right now. And these little white lines here, these are actually some of the prior economic data points, or when we have FOMC minutes, non-farm payrolls, or Powell testimony. Prior month non-farm payroll came out right here at 444. So that's actually going to be a pretty big level to pay attention to. So I'm just going to mark that real quick, 444 and change. I'm not going to be super exact. And we're coming up to it right now. I have initial ladder trade on, which we may or may not adjust. I haven't decided yet. That said, we are walking into this kind of megaphone type pattern, or broadening range, formation on SPY that we've been looking at for quite a while. So what does this mean? So this could mean that we could trade all the way down to the low end of these ranges and or the top at any given point. So just be aware. Yeah, we don't have these levels. 440, is that a big support level? 444, not huge. You can pull this back to September of last year. We just tagged the October lows. But yeah, if we get above 444, that's going to be pretty bullish to run towards the top of that range. I just don't know, what we're in for yet. What that would look like, it would look like something like this, and you'd have a tradable entry down here, probably towards the back half of the week. But again, for now, it looks like we're going to be trading up towards that until we get to probably Wednesday and Powell's first testimony. That's what I can see. Other than that, if we trade below 430, you got a level, Steven, that you're looking at on SPY. I'm just going to credit this volume range.
I was looking at like 435 and some change this morning. I was right as you brought that up. I was trying to plan out something else a little bit higher. Yeah, it's tough for me to say right now. Anything higher?
Super choppy.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to take this volume area right here, and this pulls in at 432 for the mid-value section of this prior consolidation there. So kind of matches up here. So if we do trade below 432, then yeah, I could see us going to the bottom of this range, but we'd really just trade one average week at a time, even though we've been kind of moving a little bit more than average lately. So for now, 445 to the upside, and probably like 419 to the downside, something like that. Yeah, sounds about right. Looks good to me. The Q is very similar. So we have, let me see if I can take this down, take some of these lines off here, and go with some more automated ones. So again, I'm going to take this non-farm payroll NFP from February level, and that's 352, give or take, on the Qs, which actually would put us just about an average week's range. If I took from the bottom of pre-market to 352, that would actually tag almost perfectly right there. So 352, 355, just over 350 for the upside target on the week, and then you could do the same just on the downside target. If we do fail this 337 pre-market low, then easily see 325. But otherwise, you just got to be like, expect the chop. It's going to be choppy for sure. Yep. So quick scalps, pre-market pivots are working right now. Prior day highs, lows are working right now. Prior week, prior month highs, lows. All that stuff is definitely stuff that you should take note of, no doubt. So I'm going to take some of these lines off here as well, do something similar. So I just have automated prior day, week, month lines. That's what's popping up here. Yellow is prior week's range, purple is prior month's range, and we are just about doing the same here. So this is, again, an average week's range. Where do we have? Okay, so non-farm payroll number from last month takes us to 347, just under 350 on the diamonds. That actually looks good. A little inverse head and shouldery across the board, but just careful, these fail a lot. So for now, if we're trading anywhere around 330 with a bounce looking imminent, that's probably a good tradable range. But it's not, I couldn't really go long until we break Friday's highs. You might see it on some equities, individual equities for sure. So here's an example of what that would look like. So IWM clearly breaking Friday's highs with opening here at, what is that? Our open 200. Yeah. So I'm just going to take these off again. Sorry, guys. And run with the automated lines. So yeah, so this takes us, purple is the prior month. This is our non-farm payroll level here, 195. Totally bounced off that. Breaking through last week's highs. I would see like, hey, this is probably one of my better, or one of my preferred charts just to trade something like that. if we can get a pullback around 200, see it bounce, and I mean for now, if you're breaking 205, then you're just definitely going higher. But this probably looks like the best index that has direction, in my opinion, at the moment. So that's where I'd want to be. Crude, I think we're there. I think we pull back just a little bit, but I don't see this. That's slow chop to 110. It makes perfect sense to me. Yeah, this is going to be more of an inflation gauge also. So crude trading at 95. I don't see inflation going lower. I did have a bond trade on, actually, and so for this one, I'm making some adjustments, and why I'm making adjustments is really as I'm looking at the market, I'm like, okay, so bonds, yes, they've sold off from pretty high. They're not at their actual lows. There's definitely room to go. But that said, I think a lot of the move was really kind of priced in, and with a lot of indecision coming up this week, do I want to be in a super directional trade at this moment? No. So I'm kind of converting it to more of an income trade, more neutral, to chop around this exact level that we're at right now. So that would put us, this is what I'm expecting, anywhere down from 150, 136 up to maybe 142-ish. This prior resistance would be 142. Prior resistance here. So non-farm payroll, twice we tagged 142, and so that's what I'm looking at, just a chop in this kind of general area. So I sent an adjustment for the swing trade earlier, so that's what that was. just anticipating that like maybe some of the bond rate increases are priced in already. So can the market price in more than they are? That'd be asking for a lot, for sure. Bitcoin, man, looking better for sure. I was surprised, to say the least. This is not typically this correlated to the market, but right now it absolutely is. So Bitcoin long here, bouncing off 40 would be good, up to, do I want to say 48? No, I can't say that high, but probably to 43. Realistically, just your prior resistance level. Just be careful. This is this consolidation right here. It's going to put you, 42 and change was a pretty major pivot. So could it bounce up and fail? It really could. 42, consolidating here, big time here, couple quick failures. Technically, this is a lower high, right? So technically, lower high, lower low, higher high right here, higher low, higher high, little breakdown, and one more break in structure here. So lower low, but this is higher low than this. So as long as this continues to put in lower or higher lows, you should be good, and that would be your buyable pullbacks if you see them. With a stop at like 38. 38 to me. I wouldn't want to be long below 38 for sure. But yep, so VIX we're chopping. So we got a couple little ratio potentials. I don't know that I'm still, a couple guys in the group just asked last week to throw one out, so I did, and it happened to work. If you were long that, hopefully you took one of the legs off when we got that spike last Friday or this morning, and then you're left with a little credit spread, and you can kind of put it back on. I would expect more of this, very likely. Typical, I don't know about to that high, but we'll pull back, and then we might see a little, pop up. So anywhere around 20, just want to be on the lookout. So like 25, maybe right now, I'd be more cautionary. I was trying to wait for 20 last week, man, but we never really got it. But around 20, I would put on another hedge. 25, You're tough. What that means, though, for sure, is that options are insanely expensive, super expensive. So that said, here I'm going to jump into a quick watch list. Does anybody have anything that you guys? I'm going to check our. Do we have anything on our list for our watch list? We got a couple things. Some of the guys looking at snow from last week. I'll just do a quick load. I know Tesla was a big one, so I'm just going to hit that first. So again, this is multiple time frames that I'm always looking at. It's still going up. Okay. We had a downtrend that we're kind of run into. So here's the week, right? So purple lines are monthly, high and low. Yellow lines are prior week, high and low, right? So weekly, daily, hourly, 30-minute, 15-minute. If you don't have this type of view, you really should. If you're planning on trading for like a living. But that said, we do have a little break here. So going long right now, it's a little tough because this is like you have reverted to the mean at this point. Can we break out and continue on to like 920? Yeah, we can. Or 896, about 900. 895 looks like your prior resistance or support that should act as resistance, and you can see that like this entire little range right here. So we're getting into it. Just be cautious. You might have a couple more bucks to go, but as you get in here, you should expect some type of resistance. Be careful. A lot of times we'll see this type of breakout completely fail. So that's I'm not saying that's going to happen. I'm just saying that's a possibility. Ideally, what you'd like to see is this come back, retest this line, and then go back long again. So this line would be this kind of like dynamic downtrend line. That's what I would be looking for. But yeah, if you're long, it's a big move. Take the win, or set your trailing stops. You got a few more bucks, I think, for sure. But the closer you get to 900, the more, yeah, kind of like danger zone that you are getting into. Look at our good friends Amazon. So Amazon, ooh, similar Amazon, but has not broken out. So if Tesla goes, maybe Amazon. And we're testing that prior week high right now. So inside day so far. Oh, it's real close. That's an interesting one. So if Tesla can go, this might have the ability to recover. We'll see. Do we have that same kind of, yeah, little dynamic range. This is resistance kind of level though, right at 30.80 is what I'm seeing. I know that's where we're trading now, right at 30, yeah, just under 30.80. So you're at a pivot, critical juncture. Could go higher, could trade all the way back down to this lower end of this range. So just cautious, but keep that one super heavy watch. We do Microsoft, the big ones, Microsoft. Oh yeah, these are all the same charts. So across the board, we are inside day, which is good for options, just meaning, hey, we're about to make a pivot point. Prior days, high and low, trading day. So this is right here at, what is it, 297. Always going to be a big deal. If it breaks, it can break, go that way, and you want to do an entry probably on the bounce up off, or a lot of times you can see this. So this is a pivot, right? Just a point where the stock is prone to turn directions or continue momentum one way or the other. Don't really know which way, but a place that you want to sit and watch, honestly. You don't want to be too, it's just a cautious moment right here. Yeah, it's not looking like it's gonna try and about face, but can't really say that yet. If you get a lower high pretty soon, that would be potential. You want to see it break. You want to see it break the low 296 and then bounce and then put in a lower high, and then you could short it. But until it breaks the prior low, intraday low 296, I couldn't go short either. So wait and see. Wait and see. You know what I did? I did say CrowdStrike this morning. Option volume was a little on the light side. This one was a clear breakout to me, but it goes into that security bucket. Really, I was looking at the 200 strike calls for this week. They were trading at like 250 this morning. They're at like 475 right now. But yeah, it would have had to have been a quick snag for sure, probably at like 187, and then you'd really just be closing her out right about here. But we did have like inside week. Now we're breaking out for sure, well above last week's high. If you haven't seen Palo Alto, they're like, that's a big continuation. 1, 2, 3. Again, just clear breakouts. This is like all-time highs on pan. So security theme 592. Yeah, all-time high just now. So CrowdStrike has earnings this week, I believe. Yeah, I believe so. Earnings March 9th, not this week, next week. So yeah, so can you see a run up in anticipation of after seeing Palo Alto do something similar? Yeah, you totally can. The cautionary tale would be Zscaler having recovered. Wow, look at that recovery today. So Zscaler had earnings last week. They were great earnings, right? But the street, this is another example, the street expected them to be good, and they were. So what else is there to look forward to? Earnings were on the 24th right here. So this was your earnings day, tagged right on that. Ooh, let me get some of this stuff off. Right on that previous month level. Or previous week high, 265. Kind of chopping. This could be a decent trade. You got a nice little 3 candle reversal pattern here. Actually, 1, 2, 3. Nice hammer yesterday. Ooh, that's not bad. At least trading back to what, 260? If there's volume. So it's definite qualifier. Have to have volume. Zscaler, do you have volume? Interesting. You have 1,200 contracts on the 240 call for this week traded already today, and then 1,700 on the 260 contract today. We were targeting 265. There's volume. That's what I can tell you. There's definite volume. 240, 235, 250, 260 strikes. Super busy. Like thousands busy, which is that's interesting for sure. What could you do? I could probably do like a little butterfly, but I think that would be more upside. I like this actually. I like to see if we can get a pullback to 236 and see a bounce, and I like that 250, 260 probably debit spread for this week. And that would put that probably around $1.50, maybe less. It'd be like a 1 to 10 risk reward, just trading up to this prior week level reversion to the mean. That might not be a bad trade. I'm shocked at the amount of volume that I'm seeing there. So that's more or less. Do you got something that you want to take a look at, Stephen, while we're here?
I'm just watching typical wartime stocks, Lockheed, Raytheon. I totally missed Lockheed this morning.
Holy what? Yeah, these are just going. So, yeah, same kind of situation. So I'm just gonna. I made this automated Uh, Candles, I like that a lot better, or lines. But yeah, you're well above prior month. Full continuation
Mm-hmm.
to the upside today. Yeah.
The 440s for
440s for
this
this
week on
week on
Lockheed
Lockheed
seem
seem
to,
to,
last time I
last time I
checked, they
checked,
had
they
good
had good
volume.
volume.
So
So
definitely
definitely
continuation
continuation
Oh,
watch for
for
jeez.
me.
me.
These
Yeah,
things
the
Yeah,
have.
the
430s and
430s and
440s
440s
got
I
got
good
never
good
see
volume.
volume.
Lockheed with this much volume.
Right?
Right?
Shocked. I mean, look at 475s with almost 2,000 volume. What is that? 445s? Yeah, 450s? Jeez. Yeah, but the 430s today probably biggest. Looks like they might be rolling up to the 440s, maybe like 475. Wow. Again, another all-time high type situation. Almost all-time high would be 442. So can you see this kind of breakout? Yeah, yeah. This is not. It's not out of. I mean, it's very possible. This is the weekly view. Um, Nice looking stock for sure, regardless of what's going on. Um, but yeah, you got a nice little continuation. So yesterday's high is always going to be a pivot. That's 411. This pre-market pivot 425, also a pretty key level that you want to pay attention to. So above 425, yeah, I'd say that 440 for sure. Um, yeah, that 475 is just an epic super lotto. But again, don't take super lottos until like the stock is actively in motion, or wait till the very end of the day. Um, or no, what's what's the other one? Raytheon RTX.
Raytheon,
RTX.
yeah, RTX.
RTX. Yeah, probably similar. Yep, similar. Ooh, this one has not had the traction I didn't feel like it did, but this is at all-time highs. Yeah, today, right here, right now. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so that's a $100 level is pretty going to be critical. Oh, that's clean though. RXT and 100
RTX.
RTX. Um, yeah, not RXT. That's a whole nother space. It's a whole nother company that you probably not a good company right now to trade. Um, oh yeah, they're at this 100. This would actually be maybe like good for the ratio type situation. So when a stock is trading at just all-time highs, and you don't really have a whole lot of resistance in front of it, just support behind, but it keeps going up. What you do want to use is some kind of ratio trade, and it's not a natural structure for most people, but definitely something to watch out for. So, yeah, Thursday we'll go through those. I like this, especially if you can get a pullback just under 100 at 98. Might be a little bit bigger swing. What do we got? Yeah, pretty high IV. Do we have earnings in front of us? So I'm always checking. We're always checking when is the next earnings event, because that's gonna impact your option prices for sure. You got that
I
tag.
believe they just
They just
reported at
reported
the
at
end of
the end of
January,
January,
so
so
Yeah.
should be
So
good.
we are all clear. Man, you got that tag clean off yesterday's high. This is the stuff that you're looking for right here. This pre-market tag, you're up right here. That's your trade for sure, and you're almost out at this point. That's your first target, no question. But that's the buyable bounce right there. This 1, 2, 3 candlestick type setup. Um, Once you're clean above, you're good to go to the upside. So this looks like it could go higher. Saw a lot of stuff on FCX last week, so take a look also. So this goes into the commodities sector, specifically copper. Pretty big breakout. Yeah, you're bouncing. So we had this chop range right around 37 right here. 52-week high, no question. But is it all-time high? No. Do we have room to the upside? Yeah. I mean, this would have been an epic hold. I swear, I literally bought this thing at $8, but my paper hands could not hold that long. Uh, but again, pre-market pivots yesterday closed very, very in play right now. So yesterday, Friday, closed 46.41. Also lining up. So pivots around 46 in general. So if you get a pullback, that looks like something that's tradable. Stocks like this, you want to do longer term options, but you don't want to do outright options either. If you are, I'd say maybe just slightly in the money if you had to. But your decay is going to be pretty heavy if you don't, or this is a 1, 2, third day rally. Probably, ooh, this is tough. Look at this weekly candle, just clean above. So this stuff, yeah, if you get a pull back to 46 and catch it, this is setting up pretty nice for a longer rally, for sure. Something sustainable, no question. I can tell you. What? Oh, I'm looking at the wrong. FCX. So FCX, I'll just do a quick scan of the biggest block orders is what I'm doing. I don't use Algo Flow, any of that kind of stuff. I just use Thinkorswim's native tools. They tell me everything I need to know. April 14th, 46 calls, biggest order today at 3,250. Single order trade for at 375 a piece. Went in at 752 about an hour ago. It's the biggest block order. And then you also have a same trader, same block, 3,250 contracts, April 14th, 42 puts. Probably a risk reversal of some sort. So either short the 42 puts, long the 46 calls. I would see that as a very bullish trade, as if that's what they were doing. But it was both of those contracts at the same time. Whether or not they bought the calls or bought the puts, I don't know. So there you have it. April 14th. That's next monthlies. Yeah, they are now in the money. If that was a risk reversal, meaning short puts, bull puts, bullish puts, and long calls, they're making some money for sure right now. So that's the type of stuff that you don't want to be setting up for options, especially with the VIX trading at this level. You don't really want to be long just a whole lot of premium outright. Cool. I think that's it for now. We're about at time. I think we are good here. This will be available for play later, and I will see you guys in your servers. Cool. Adios. See ya.